Hi, I'm Cecily Wright, and this is my entry for the Talent Scholarship for Theology. According to Bridges of Life, over 300 million people worldwide struggle with depression, yet less than half of them seek treatment. Despite this overwhelming need for hope and healing, Christians have not always responded to this issue well. I was 16 when my parents separated, and I felt the crippling pressure as the oldest of four to keep everything together while our world fell apart. So I bottled all my feelings up, and I quickly grew irate over having my life changed without any consideration from my parents how I felt. Eventually these feelings burst, and I grew into an argument with one of my parents, and they kicked me out of their home. After this, I built walls around myself, and I was determined to never give anyone the power to hurt me again. But that didn't happen, and I still hurt. I've battled depression my entire life, but in this challenging season, these attacks increased tenfold. But due to both my upbringing's beliefs and my own doubts, I just saw my depression and anxiety as evidence of a lack of faith. I was just a bad Christian. And due to this horrible conclusion, I have been cast doubt on God's ability to love me, with the connection that if my own parent can kick me out of their home, God will surely grow tired of me and my problems and leave me as well. Have you ever let other people's, even other Christians, expectations for what a Christian fights or what a Christian struggles with get in the way of you seeking help? Has this caused you to try and carry all the burdens of mental anguish on your own without ever letting anyone know that there is something seriously wrong going on? Another character familiar with this feeling of failure and anxiety is Elijah. In 1 Kings chapter 18, we see Elijah on Mount Carmel, and he calls upon God so that his people would turn back to him. And God shows him in a miraculous way, sending down fire from the sky to burn up a water-drenched offering. But what happens next isn't what Elijah intended to. Instead of the people turning back to God like he expected, the queen at the time, Jezebel, puts a target on his back, and he has to flee for his life. In the very next chapter, we see Elijah exhausted and begging God to take his life. He's a failure, but God responds in a remarkable way. He isn't frustrated at Elijah for his lack of faith. Instead, he sends Elijah an angel with food, water, and rest. And after he's rested, he tells Elijah to go meet him on the mountain of God. Elijah obeys. And when he comes there, he's amazed and frightened by powerful showings of earth, wind, and fire. But God doesn't show himself through those feats. God shows himself to Elijah in a gentle whisper. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Friends, our God is a mighty one. But when we try to apply that to his capacity for faith and mercy, we cut it short. And because we cut God's healing and God's mercy short, we try and carry the heavy burdens of mental anguish and trials on our own. But these burdens were never ours to carry. I personally came to realize this, and I realized I couldn't heal myself. And that was when God began to move. First, he came to me and asked me to approach him in prayer. And I responded in anger. "God, why'd you let this happen? God, I feel so alone. They're my parent. They're supposed to take care of me." And then it was in sadness. "God, I feel so alone. God, I can't do anything right. God, I can barely keep my head above water." And then finally, after a while, It was acceptance. God, I can't do anything on my own. God, I'm just trying to make it through the day. I need you. And that was when God began to move. While I went to him nightly, casting all my anger, my frustration, and anxieties on him, I was being more vulnerable than I had before. And that was when God had the opportunity to heal me. That's when God, brick by brick, tore down the walls of my heart and began the long process of healing. Friends, we were never meant to carry these burdens on our own. We were never meant to carry the weight of anger and sin and bitterness and sadness on our shoulders. Christ bore those on his shoulders, not us. And God is waiting for you with open arms to take shelter in him, to rely on his strength. Not only that, but he's prepared many professional Christian men and women with the capabilities of helping you overcome these attacks from the enemy. You are not alone. You have a God that will answer you when you knock. A God that will come to you in a gentle whisper when you go seek him out on the mountain of God. He will help you through the trials and the pain and your suffering. And in the end, you will find your faith deepened more than you ever thought possible.